Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys?
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it. Husband!
Wife!
Do you remember what happened yesterday and where we are?
Well, yesterday you were sick as fuck.
I was.
So yesterday I put out a special replay of an old Christmas episode we did a couple years ago.
I was
But
sick.
prior to that, we did Isaiah chapter 37.
Correct.
And I believe in that chapter, the angel of the Lord killed like 100 and something thousand people.
185,000 people.
And God and Hezekiah were playing phone tag with all the messengers and shit.
Yeah.
So,
and Sennacherib's guys.
Right.
So everybody was like saying, God told me to tell you to tell.
Right. Yeah. No, it was extremely hard to follow.
It really was.
I'm like, God, just talk to each other, for crying out loud.
And it made it worse in that we've actually already read some of this in 2 Kings. So it's like, ugh.
Yeah, right. So anyway, that was Isaiah chapter 37.
Sure as fuck was.
Which means that today we're getting into
Isaiah chapter 38.
All right, let's do this.
Okie dokie. All right, let's get into Isaiah chapter 38.
Okay.
And again, I don't typically do this, but I feel it necessary to read the header of this one.
Yeah.
Because, not because it pertains to the Bible in any particular way, but because it's funny to me.
Okay.
It's Hezekiah's sickness. And I'm like, oh, I relate to that.
Yeah, and just for the record, I'm going to apologize up front. Wife is still sick.
Yeah.
And still struggling a little bit with things. So, but we're here doing this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, just to clarify, like my sickness involved head fog and losing time. Like I was so distracted and dizzy. I would space out and then catch myself spacing out and look down at my phone, and like 20 to 30 minutes had passed. And I don't think I was kidnapped by aliens. I think that I'm having a really hard time focusing, and
right.
Yeah. So sorry about that. I'm trying to get better, but if I'm off tonight, that's why.
Yep.
All right. In those days, Hezekiah became ill.
Okay.
I understand, my bro.
Yeah.
And was at the point of death. Let's hope I'm not there.
I remember this from the earlier chapters at probably 2 Kings still.
Yeah. Yeah. This is all 2 Kings stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Do you remember what happened with him?
I think that he makes some sort of deal and like gets better and something. I don't know.
Good job. The prophet Isaiah, son of Amoz, went to him, Hezekiah, and said, "This is what the Lord says. Put your house in order, because you're gonna die.
Oh.
You will not recover, motherfucker." Hezekiah turned his face to the wall and prayed to the Lord. "Remember, Lord, how I have walked before you faithfully and with wholehearted devotion, and have done what is good in your eyes."
Wait, it was God that told him this?
Yeah. God told Isaiah to tell Hezekiah.
That's right. I vaguely remember that. Like, okay, all right, sorry. I'm trying to recall exactly.
Yeah.
So okay.
So Hezekiah's sad.
Yeah.
And he wept bitterly. Then the word of the Lord came to Isaiah.
Okay.
Go and tell Hezekiah, this is what the Lord, the God of your father David, says. I have heard your prayer and seen your tears. I will add 15 years to your life, and I will deliver you and this city from the hand of the king of Assyria.
Didn't he already do that? You
I
already
will
did that.
defend this city.
He already did that.
Yeah.
He killed
He did.
185 fucking thousand people.
But there was the chance that they would regather themselves and some kind of retribution would happen.
All right.
Like, how dare.
Okay.
And so God's saying, don't worry about that.
I just think it's funny that God's like, I'm going to kill you. And then he watches him beg and plead and cry for his fucking life. And then God's like, I'm not going to talk to you again. I'm going to go talk to Isaiah over here.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell him I'm going to give you a better deal.
I'll give you 15 measly years.
Because you begged and pleaded to me.
Right. This is the Lord's sign to you that the Lord will do what he has promised. I will make the shadow cast by the sun go back the 10 steps it has gone down on the stairway of Ahaz. So the sunlight went back the 10 steps it had gone down. Now what's interesting to note in this is that in 2 Kings, in that version, God gave Isaiah the choice of having it move forward or back. And Isaiah chose have it go back because that seemed to be to him the harder way to have the sundial move back 10 whatever.
Got it.
10 shadow digits or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
So the sunlight went back 10 steps.
Okay.
So either he moved.
He turned back time.
Yeah. And I think at the time we said, if I could turn back time. I'm sure we did.
Yeah, I mean, it would only, it had to.
If we didn't, that'd be a travesty.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
We failed if we did not do that.
Right? A writing of Hezekiah, king of Judah, after his illness and recovery.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I said, in the prime of my life, must I go through the gates of death and be robbed the rest of my years? I said, I will not again see the Lord himself in the land of the living. No longer will I look on my fellow man or be with those who now dwell in this world. Like a shepherd's tent, my house has been pulled down and taken from me. Like a weaver, I have rolled up my life, and he has cut me off from the loom. Day and night, you make an end of me.
Wait, this is supposedly after he recovered, right? He wrote this after he recovered? I thought that's what you said when you started that.
After his illness and recovery, yeah.
So why is he bitching about dying?
Because he's only got 15 years to wrap up his shit, and he's saying, I got to get this done, and I'm not going to see God again. You know, the next time I see God will be the end of my life.
Do you think you would want to know when you would die?
I have mixed feelings on it.
Yeah.
Because, in the notes that I was taking, or the stuff that I was researching, a lot of people said that it was a boon because then you would have the time to make things right and to tie up loose threads and, to see to your affairs and say goodbye to all the people that you love.
But I feel like I feel like life in general, right? Life is about making plans and about, doing things and fulfilling, goals and things like that, right? So if you know when you're going to die, though, you're going to spend a large portion of that time that you have left just preparing to die.
Right.
And not preparing to live.
Exactly.
So I feel like it robs you. It's so much like what he's writing, I guess. It robs you of your life. It robs you of choice.
I have a story I can relate that kind of touches on that.
Yeah.
When my dad was in the military, he was stationed overseas on this teeny tiny Air Force base in southern Italy.
Yeah.
That no longer exists.
Right.
And on this base, it was just like this perfect microcosm of humanity, at least for me and for a lot of the people that I keep in touch with from that time. We all miss it fondly.
Yeah.
And some of us more than others even ache for it. I am one of those.
Sure.
I can remember at the time, we had this thing called a short timers calendar. And it's where you have a calendar and you mark up, like you count down to the day that you're leaving.
Right.
Because a lot of times people would be excited, to leave,
get back to the States.
Well, or to go to their next assignment.
Sure.
Like a lot of people were going to a different country or they're going home to their family.
Yeah.
Or, whatever. They hate their boss and they can't wait to get to their next job.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So there's any number of reasons. So we had this short timers calendar and we marked off as a family every day as our time was getting shorter. And I just remember my mom, my dad, and my sister couldn't wait. And I was filled with dread because somehow I just knew I was in this perfect spot that I would never see again.
Well, and you told me a lot of stories. You built a really, you're all the people you knew were there. So,
I was there from 5th to 10th grade.
Right.
So it was like a very important part of my childhood and youth.
Right.
And, my first love was there.
Yeah.
You know, the first boy I ever had a crush on, my first kiss, like basically my first almost everything was right there. And to know that it was coming to an end almost put a pall over the beauty of it. Like I knew it was wonderful in the moment. They tell you be present and appreciate what you have. And I did that, but I was also aware daily with the countdown that it was going to end and when to the very date.
Yeah.
And that was hard. So I don't know if I would want to know.
Would it have been harder or easier if you would have just been, pulled out and moved away?
I really don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I mean,
I'm just curious, like that's kind of what I was getting at is like, is it better to not know or is it better to know?
I don't know because, I mean, I suppose that there were people that would have been stationed there and then like something came up and they might have got transferred like within a few days.
Right.
Emergency or something. I don't know those situations because I was not a service member at that time.
I guess the way I feel about it, like especially with a case like that, you would probably know at least a day or two ahead of time. The people that are really important to you, you're gonna run around real quick and say goodbye. Like you're still gonna get to say goodbye.
Yes.
It's just not gonna be this long drawn out process where you spend a lot of time saying goodbye.
Well, and the thing is, like, we were so used to people coming and going that saying goodbye for some of us was just like this really
normal thing.
Yeah, it was weirdly normal.
Right.
And this is the day when I'm going around to get everybody's addresses so that we can write and stay in touch.
But it's also a little bit different when you're the one leaving. Like,
it is.
You were there from 5th to 10th grade, so you saw a lot of people come and go, but you weren't the one going during that time frame. So then it was your turn to go.
Right.
That's a bigger deal for you. Not necessarily for the people that are still there. But
that is true because my dad was there that last time for 5 years, and that was very unusual. Normally people were there for like 3 or 4 years.
Right.
My dad got stationed there 3 separate times, which is also unusual. And that last time we were there for that 5 years. And, so I mean, I was there on and off for about 10 years of my life.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous, but also cool, but also I can never go home. But also a lot of people can't. Like I have all of the feelings that a refugee might have, but without any of that like extra emotional baggage. Like I can't claim that status and it would be cruel to even compare myself to that.
Sure.
So I just have this very unique situation. But as far as like knowing when a thing is coming to an end. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that.
Sure. No,
it did make it harder to appreciate the moment.
I'd be curious to hear some other people's points of view on that.
I really would too.
Let us know what you feel about that situation.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, would you want to know? Would you not want to know?
Right, right. Yeah,
and why?
That is a good question. I don't think there's a right answer. I think.
No, I
think it's more of a philosophical, rhetorical question than a what is the answer question.
I believe I have my answer. I don't think I would want to know. That's how I feel about it. Anyway.
I don't think I would want to know either. But I don't know that for sure.
Right.
I mean, I don't think you can know for sure.
Sure, right.
All right. Anyway, getting back to this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, dwell in this world, blah, blah, blah. Like a shepherd's tent, my house has been pulled down and taken from me. Like a weaver, I have rolled up my life, and he has cut me off from the loom. Day and night, you made an end of me. I waited patiently till dawn, but like a lion, he broke all my bones. Day and night you made an end of me. I cried like a swift or thrush. I moaned like a mourning dove. My eyes grew weak as I looked into the heavens. I am being threatened. Lord, come to my aid. But what can I say? He has spoken to me and he himself has done this.
Yeah.
I will walk humbly all my years because of this anguish of my soul. Lord, by such things people live, and my spirit finds life in them too. You restored me to health and let me live. Surely it was for my benefit that I suffered such anguish.
Oh, so he was talking about the anguish he was having while he was sick, not the anguish about the upcoming death after the 15 years. Because then he said afterwards.
Oh yeah, after his illness and recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was talking that whole thing was about him reflecting on the time when he was sick.
Got it.
So
Okay.
that makes, I guess, a little bit more sense. I don't. It must have been pretty traumatic if he's writing about it after the
Yeah.
fact. You know,
Yeah.
must have been really fucking bad.
I guess. I don't really relate to this whole surely it was for my benefit that I suffered such anguish. Like
Yeah.
it's
I
that
mean,
silver lining thing, and I'm like, okay, there's positivity, but then there's also toxic positivity.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't. I can understand. Like, people go through traumatic events, and they often say that they appreciate life more afterwards. Right.
Sure.
That is a thing I hear as a common theme
Sure.
of people that have been through traumatic events. I don't know how long that euphoria lasts after that,
Right.
but it is a common theme that I hear from people. Um, that being said, I don't feel like God telling you I'm going to kill you and then
Right.
letting you live is one of those things. That's just him.
Being a
I feel like
dick.
that's him toying with you.
Yeah.
Like, either you're going to kill me or you're not.
Right.
Why you changed your mind after talking to Isaiah or something, or
Right.
after I cried?
You heard me pray.
That's fucking bullshit, man. You're God, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why that sentence kind of threw me like,
Yeah.
I'm not down with that.
Right.
In your love, you kept me from the pit of destruction. You have put all my sins behind your back. Okay, here's the thing. So he is saying, is saying, since you gave me more years, you gave me time to get right with God.
Okay.
Because I have had all of this sin in my life, I can now turn away from it. I've got time
To fix it.
Yeah, to no longer be a sinner or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I take issue with that too, though, because some
I do
people
too.
he didn't give time, and
Yeah.
you know, like, some people he didn't even give a fucking chance. You know,
Right.
like the Aaron's sons.
Yeah.
Struck those fuckers dead.
Yeah.
You know, like they didn't get any fucking
Or
chances.
Uzzah.
Right? Yeah. 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 It's very hit or miss how he.
Right.
You know.
Depends on if they have an important story or not, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the grave cannot praise you, death cannot sing your praise. Those who go down to the pit cannot hope for your faithfulness. The living, they praise you, as I am doing today. Parents tell their children about your faithfulness. The Lord will save me, and we will sing with stringed instruments all the days of our lives in the temple of the Lord.
Okay.
Isaiah had said, prepare a poultice of figs and apply it to the boil, and he will recover. Hezekiah had asked, what will be the sign that I will go up to the temple of the Lord? The end.
Okay.
So I read a thing about the poultice of figs applied to the boil.
Yeah.
That it's like, how was it phrased? It was like a sign within a sign. Because apparently something in the fig should have made the sore on the boil like worse.
Oh.
So not only didn't it make it worse, it actually healed it.
Okay.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why? Well, what's the symbolism there, though?
That was a sign.
Oh.
It's not symbolism. It's just it's a
so
sign of
God's doing this, not the
right
thing that they put on the boil or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because remember, the first sign was that he moved the clock back 10 shadow pegs or what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
And so this one is that if you put figs, a poultice of figs on your boil, it'll heal immediately.
Got it.
So they put something on it that should have made it worse.
And it got better still.
And instead it got better.
Okay.
So that's magic for you.
Got it. Well, I mean, this is a story we've already read prior to this, so I don't know that I have a lot more to say. I mean, I think I said pretty much everything I wanted to say, so.
Yeah.
That was Isaiah chapter 38.
Sure as fuck was.
And let's see. We will be back. Tomorrow is Saturday, so we'll be back tomorrow with
Q&A Saturday.
And then on Sunday this week, I believe we're doing
Patreon.
And I'll get the weekly wrap up together, and then we'll be back on Monday with
Isaiah chapter 39.
And hopefully we won't have any more sickness.
I hope not to.
Yeah. We'll see you guys.
Bye.
Hey wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my god. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.